One of the most instructive stories in all of Western literature is to be found in Book 12 of Homer's epic, the Odyssey. But before we arrive at this pivotal moment, it's important to understand the context. Our hero, Odysseus, the resourceful king of Ithaca, has already endured a decade of war at Troy and is now in the midst of a harrowing 10-year journey home. He has faced down a Cyclops, navigated the underworld, and escaped the clutches of the sorceress Circe. It is Circe herself who gives him a dire warning about the next peril on his path, an island inhabited by the Sirens. These were not merely beautiful singers. The Sirens were compelling female figures whose song was said to be so irresistible that it promised to reveal all the secrets of the world past, present, and future. They offered knowledge, validation, and an end to struggle. But this promise was a trap. Any sailor who heard their call would be overcome by an obsessive desire to get closer, steering their ship directly into the island's treacherous, rocky shoreline, where they would meet their death, their bones joining a gruesome pile of previous victims. Determined to be the one man to hear this legendary song and live to tell the tale, Odysseus devises a brilliant plan, a masterclass in self-awareness. As his ship approaches the island, he has his crew melt beeswax and plug their own ears, rendering them deaf to the siren's call. Then, he commands them to tie him, with ropes upon ropes, to the central mast of the ship. And here is the crucial instruction. He orders them to disregard any pleas, commands, or frantic gestures he might subsequently make, however impassioned they might be. He tells them that if he begs to be released, they are to add even more ropes to bind him tighter. Sure enough, as the ship sails into range, Odysseus hears the enchanting song. It is everything Circe warned of and more. It calls to him by name, praising his victories at Troy and promising to soothe all his worldly pains. He loses his reason. He screams, he begs, he uses all his authority as king to command his sailors to untie him and steer closer to the source of that sublime, all-knowing sound. But the ropes, secured when he was sane, remain firm. His sailors, their ears safely plugged, see only their captain's thrashing. They remember their original orders, given by their rational leader, not the crazed man before them now. They simply row on, and the ship sails past the island, unharmed. In doing so, Odysseus becomes the only mortal ever to have heard the song of the Sirens and lived. This ancient story is so enduring because, for all its fantasy, it defines a profound mental maneuver that every good life should, at points, have recourse to. It is a blueprint for what psychologists today call a commitment device, or a Ulysses pact. It teaches us that there are situations in which we must concede that our willpower alone is not enough. No finely wrought philosophical arguments, no amount of self-talk or rationalization in favor of wisdom will be effective in the heat of the moment. Sometimes, only the blunt, preemptive removal of temptation can save us. We all have two selves living inside us, the long-term planner and the short-term pleasure seeker. The planner is the part of us that sets goals, buys healthy groceries, and wants to save for the future. The pleasure seeker is the one who, at 11 p.m., is tired and stressed and wants nothing more than to give in to a fleeting impulse. The genius of Odysseus was in realizing that his planning self had to protect his future self from the inevitable weakness of his impulsive self. When we are faced with lures that we know we aren't strong enough to talk ourselves out of, we have to give others power of attorney over us. We must willingly accept being treated as children for a brief, controlled period, in order for the precious, hard-won goals of our adulthood to be preserved. We must accept, without anger or resentment, the humiliating but liberating fact that in certain, predictable circumstances, we will simply lose control. The threats to our reasonableness, our own personal sirens, are everywhere, precisely tailored to the fault lines of our minds. It might be the ex-partner who shattered years of our life. The rational part of us knows the relationship was toxic, but late at night, when loneliness descends, a wave of nostalgic amnesia washes over us. We remember only the good times, and our fingers hover over their contact information, convinced by the siren song that this time it will be different. Or perhaps it's a teenage child who knows exactly how to push our buttons. And in the heat of an argument, the desire to win and have a last word overwhelms our wiser goal of maintaining a loving connection. It could be an office colleague whose passive aggressiveness we must do our best to ignore, lest we send an email that could damage our career. It could be the seemingly harmless chocolate biscuit we can't stop eating once we start, turning a single treat into a whole packet and a night of self-reproach. It might be a specific website or social media feed, a rabbit hole of distraction that promises connection but delivers only lost hours and a feeling of emptiness. It could even be the siren call of a credit card, promising instant gratification that will sabotage a month's careful budgeting. When we have these temptations fully in view, we must gather our sailors, the trusted friends, family, or partners with whom we navigate our lives, and cede to them a temporary right to take the tiller of our destiny. This requires immense vulnerability. It means handing our friend our phone and saying, "Don't let me have this back after 10 p.m., no matter what I say." It means giving our partner the plug to our computer, or asking a friend to be our accountability partner at the gym. It means telling them not to allow us into a certain shop, or asking them to monitor whom we have called. None of it feels edifying in the moment. It feels like an admission of failure. But it is, in the end, far less edifying to live in a state of self-deception, pretending we can always lay claim to a reasonableness that is, in reality, only ever intermittently ours. Our willpower is not a constant, inexhaustible resource. It is a muscle that fatigues. It is strong when we are rested, fed, and calm. It is frighteningly weak when we are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. The truly mature person doesn't pretend this weakness doesn't exist. They plan for it. There are moments when, for a true friend to listen to us, entails, in effect, not listening to us. When they see us gripped by shame, despair, or obsession, they must listen not to the words we are saying now, but to the wiser words we said when we were calm. We need to be sane enough in our moments of clarity to say to those who care for us, "I'm sufficiently strong to know how weak I am. In the future, I may beg you for something that is bad for me. Please, protect me from what I want. Do me the ultimate kindness of ignoring everything I will ask you for then." This act of preemptive surrender is not a sign of failure, but the highest form of self-awareness and self-care. It is an acknowledgement that to be human is to be flawed, and that real strength lies not in an imaginary, unbreakable willpower, but in the wisdom to build a system of support that accounts for our moments of weakness. By lashing ourselves to the mast, we are not imprisoning ourselves. We are liberating our future selves from the tyranny of a fleeting, destructive impulse. We are choosing the long-term, meaningful voyage of our life over the momentary, fatal song of the rocks. It is in these moments of planned vulnerability that we find our greatest resilience, build the deepest trust with those who love us, and ultimately chart a course toward the life we truly desire. This journey of self-understanding is at the heart of what we explore here. If these ideas help you navigate your own life's voyage with a little more clarity and courage, consider subscribing to our channel for more content that helps us all become wiser and more compassionate captains of our own destiny.